Hi, I'm Jake from CarBuzz, and this is the Rivian R1T pickup. It's all electric, and it might be the most important electric car we've seen in years. It has a range of 314 miles, 4 motors for a total of 800 horsepower and 900 foot-pounds of torque. It can tow 11,000 pounds and get to 60 in about 3 seconds. It can also ford water up to 42.7 inches, which is insane. We're going to check it out today, on-road and off-road, and then we'll come back at the end and wrap it up. All right, so now I'm standing here with Brian Gase, the special projects manager for Rivian. Yep. Yeah, okay, and we're here with the Rivian R1T Launch Edition, which we're driving around Colorado today. As you can see, it's already dusty, and Brian's going to take us through some of the cooler features of this, starting with the gear tunnel.
Absolutely. So we'll come back here. The gear tunnel is lockable, tight storage, so the bags that have been back here have been nice and clean and dry. You see we've got our cooler with some supplies inside of it. It passes through all the way to the other side. So there's a door on both sides of the vehicle, and the doors also functions as steps. So now I can show how much taller I am and see a beautiful view of the prairie.
Or also get stuff out of the gear rack or other normal things that you would do. Yes, absolutely. Okay, let's check out the compressor, which is in the back, which there's actually 2 compressors on this car, right? There's one for the tires, and then there's one to use for
Yeah, so not just for the tires, but there's the compressor that runs the suspension system. So it is an air suspension. We can adjust the ride height from about 7.5 inches to 15. And we have a compressor in the back that you can use to fill up your tires, your bikes, your other equipment. You can also use it as a spray nozzle and spray some of the dust off the vehicle.
Oh, maybe we could have done that before we started this thing. Right, so there's, 4 or 5 modes. There's all-purpose, sport, comfort.
Vehicle-wise, there are several different drive modes, and then there are different ride heights. So
right, so that's
drive
what
mode,
to,
you can do off-road, you can do on-road with a sport, you can do all-purpose for driving. In off-road, which is what we'll be doing today, you've got rock crawl. You've got a rally mode, which makes you think you're a better driver than you probably are. You've got drift that shows you maybe you're not as good, lets the back end get a little bit looser. And then you've got all-purpose off-road auto. So that's what we'll do for most of our driving. And ride heights, you can go from low to medium to high to max.
And right now it's in max, right? We're in off-road max mode.
It's in high right now.
Oh, it's in high right now.
So it goes 2 inches from this.
It goes a teeny bit higher, and it goes a lot lower too. When you put it in its lowest setting, it looks sweet. It looks like a street sport truck.
It's very slam.
Yeah. Okay.
Good for on-road, good for aerodynamics.
Nice. Okay. So on the compressor, they have a nice place to store it here in the gear tunnel, and it actually has extra storage underneath the flap here. There's also a first aid kit on the other side.
Inside of the bag, you have an air hose. Drop the tailgate.
So here's the panel right here. I hope you can see that. We'll zoom in on that later.
Connect that. I can set the pressure on here, and then I just hit the play button, and it will fill up to the desired pressure. So we're gonna go there. That's it.
Super easy. And super convenient out on the trail when you're airing up and airing down all the time.
Absolutely.
And also maybe at the lake if you're filling up a ramp or something, raft or something like that. All right, so this is an electric vehicle, as we know, and this has 4 motors in the wheels along with the skateboard platform in between, which means in addition to your bed cargo space, you also have a front trunk, or a frunk, as some people like to call it. This one opens with a button down here.
Yep. So button opens it. You can open it from the center display screen.
Key fob. Yep, key fob. And then we have, you said about 330 liters of this in here, and off the top of my head, it looks like about 12 square feet or 12 cubic feet or something like that, but we will get you a closer number on that. And then I think it's just when you close it, it's got automatic close here too, which is always nice. You don't have to figure out how hard you have to slam it, Okay, now I'm sitting here with Nicole Johnson, Senior Manager of HMI, which is Human Machine Interface. So she's responsible for the infotainment here and the driver cluster. So tell us a little bit about this beautiful infotainment screen. How big is it?
It is 15 inches.
And so we're looking at a beautiful map here of like a satellite style map, not just a directions map. And then so what else, what other kind of features do we have here on the map?
So this is our satellite view. We also have a non-satellite view version of it. But one of the interesting features here is being able to integrate that with your trip planning and charging. So we have our charge speed, we have our network available, and then we have our actual available chargers at whatever location we're going to. So for charge speed, depending on how much time you have in your day, you can go for DC fast charge, or you can go a little bit slower, depending on what's close to you in your area. For network, our Rivian network and the infrastructure for it is being built now. Our first couple of chargers are actually in Moab in Utah, but we also have integrated partners. So right now we have ChargePoint EVgo that's set to expand in the near future. What that means is that via your mobile app, you can actually have ChargePoint EVgo integrated, and you don't have to pull out your credit card each time you come to one of those locations. Availability is in reference to once I've picked a location, once I've picked a speed, how many chargers are actually available at that location.
Right. So if there's 6 chargers, there's only 2 available, you would know that.
And if you really need to charge, that no longer becomes a factor. But if you're in a hurry, you might want to know that. So.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the music here. Now, earlier we were looking at Spotify, which is native to the system. So you can just log in with your own Spotify system.
Log in with your Spotify account, which you can do via QR code. You can do via your account login. So either way.
We also enjoyed the radio dial that you can slide back and forth like this.
Yep.
Me and Derek enjoyed that a lot.
A bit of a digital homage to our old school,
Totally.
tuners.
Yeah, love it. So this is probably the most exciting part, where you have all your drive modes, all-purpose, sport, conserve, off-road, and towing. If I press the brake, we can switch through them here. So all-purpose obviously does everything. Sport lowers the car. We talked a little bit about this with Brian. Lowers the car there. And there's 2 low levels. You can go to the slammed level, which makes it look really cool. We were doing a lot of off-road today, which raises it back up. And then within off-road, you got your auto, your rock crawl, which we used, rally, which we used. We did not use drift today, unfortunately. Next time. Hopefully. And then next one is you can open your hood, your charge ports, all of it right from here. So if you don't have to get out and do that, or if you're doing it for somebody else. And your mirrors, we folded some of the mirrors today when we were going on those trails. Live view cameras here as well. So that is our reverse camera right there. And we can, we go front, right there. That shows you your wheels. And now when these are rear wheels here?
These are rear
See,
wheels.
nice. So like when I would have been switching, it might be a little pain to switch like while you're going through an obstacle, but the fronts were definitely helpful, keeping your, front tires not popped, which
it really depends on the environment and the terrain you're on. In some cases, your rear wheels are most important to kind of watch as it's trailing, with the momentum of the vehicle. In some cases, it's more the front wheels, so it's kind of depending on what the situation is.
Nice. Okay, so on your driver cluster here, so obviously we have your gear notations. And what else do we have? A navigation here.
We do. So we have our turn-by-turn, which is a partner for your navigation once you've put in a location where you're going. You can also press and hold the outboard left steering wheel button.
That was that. Okay, this one, yeah.
Yeah, the outboard left steering wheel button, and it'll show you your efficiency graph.
Oh, very cool.
So that's kind of showing you how your driving style is actually affecting your range overall.
Right. Okay. And so we also have our little range down here. And then what are these little lines and this little thing next to it?
So that's is showing you what drive mode you're actually in at the moment. Right now, we're actually in off-road. And it's also showing you an approximation of what ride height you're at. Are you at the highest?
Right. So right now, we're at the second from highest right now.
Correct.
That's all very cool. And the last cool thing I want to show you guys is the cool key. And it's actually 3 keys. So you have your main fob. Oh, it's connected like that. So you have your main fob like that. You also have these cards. You can keep them in your wallet and just automatically unlock. And then this bracelet, which is, if you're out on the trails or running or hiking or biking, obviously waterproof swimming, no problem.
Yep. So the cards and the wristband are both NFC. So you can leave your phone, which you'll have your phone as key as well as an alternative option aside from this fob. And you can, go kayaking.
So 4 ways, really. So you have your phone plus these 3 ways.
That's correct.
A lot of ways to get into this thing.
A lot of ways.
All right, we're out here on the road in the Rivian R1T. And as we said, we're talking about 800 horsepower and 900 pound-feet of torque. We got a bunch of drive modes here. And right now I am in the all-purpose mode, which has a medium height and a medium amount of throttle aggressiveness. We're going to switch to sport in a little bit and go a little faster. We're going to also go off-road later, so stay tuned for that. I also have a couple engineers in the back with me and Rivian folks, so you can say hi to them. So this car is big and heavy, and it feels like it around the turns. Not as much on the gas because it's so fast, or really on the brakes because they also feel pretty sturdy and solid. Even with the regeneration that you get from them. We took it around the Loveland Pass for a little bit, and it really handles kind of like a giant sedan. It feels heavy but planted and pretty confident. Right now we're rolling on the 20-inch all-terrain tires. two different tire options besides that one, and we'll talk about those a little bit later too. But so we even found these on the road very comfortable. We did get a little tire squeal going around some of those passes, but never felt out of control or like any of the tires would break loose, even with all that power. We also have the autonomous, semi-autonomous driving here. I think just why we press that. Okay, so now we're in, now we have cruise control. We're at 64 miles an hour. And then it will tell me when it is good to go for autonomous. So it's almost like your Blue Cruise and your Adapt and your Super Cruise, where it's set for a certain amount of highways that it can go on. You still have to keep your hands on the wheel, but the cool thing is that it's capacitive and it's not based on torque like some of these systems. So like in the Mercedes that we had a couple weeks ago, you have to like jiggle the wheel to, make it recognize that your hands are still on it. And it's kind of annoying. Like if you're just letting it go straight, it's staying in the middle of the lane. There's no reason to jiggle the wheel. But in this car, as long as you have your hands on the wheel, it will follow the curves and stay in the lane to follow the car in front of it. We will get back to you with a range from here to the airport. And let's check out what it looks like off-road too.
The Rivian R1T pickup has 4 independently controlled motors, which work overtime off-road. Each one checks for slippage at the tire many times per second, adjusting the amount of power going to each one. We spent most of our time in the off-road auto and rock crawl modes with one of the 2 maximum amounts of ride height. You can still adjust the suspension within each individual drive mode from soft to stiff. In rock crawl, we kept it mostly in the stiffer setting, and those settings do differ depending on mode, i.e., stiff in sport mode is stiffer than stiff in off-road mode. The biggest intervention in the off-road mode is the control of the throttle. Sensitivity is turned way down, which is a good thing. You don't want to summit an obstacle only to launch yourself into the next county. The rock crawl sub-mode of the off-road mode works only in the highest ride height while offering extreme articulation by letting pressure out of the linked suspension system. That suspension has 3 parts: the air suspension, the active damping, and the electro-hydraulic roll control. The air suspension is mainly responsible for the ride height and load leveling actions. It can go from 7.9 inches of ground clearance to 14.4 inches. That means you can scoot over obstacles that would hold up a lower vehicle. Active damping monitors the road and driver inputs every 5 milliseconds to adjust the R1T suspension. The damping rates are variable for better response and allow for customized compression and rebound. The coolest piece is the electro-hydraulic roll control system that replaces the mechanical anti-roll bar. The setup limits body roll on the street but allows for a ton of it on the trail. The cross-linked monotube shocks feature external reservoirs but no valves. To get the proper damping, oil goes through the upper and lower chambers at a fixed rate using variable holes to control jounce and rebound. A hydraulic pump sits at the center of all this that helps adjust the system's pressure in different drive modes.
Well, we've driven it on-road, we've driven it off-road. It's been, frankly, amazing, amazingly fast, amazing at climbing up rocks. And in fact, the park ranger almost didn't let us go on this trail because it was too difficult for a pickup truck of this size. But I would say we made it without much of a hassle, and I'm not a great off-roader, and even I made it. So that's impressive for the truck. Also, there's 2 trims, Explorer and Adventure, and the Explorer starts at $67,500 and is on sale now. Thanks for joining us.